If we lived in Costa Rica, what would the fish's name be, Brandy?
Consuelo.
Okay, did I tell you about the Consuelo? Oh my God. So when I was in my former life of being as an SAT tutor, okay, I had all this. That's where the Matt Todd University merch comes from.
Right.
And in 2019, things were banned. Like I was crushing. I had like 12 full classes a week. I was doing it, baby. So I was making merch like crazy, just like that.
The finger
I was making merch like crazy. And like anything the kids came up with, I was like, sure, we'll do that. Like I did.
Why not?
I did 50 shirts that said Matt Todd University, not a cult. I did like 100 shirts with QR codes. We did Christmas sweaters. I was going to do Hanukkah and Kwanzaa sweaters. Yes, I did. I did Hanukkah sweaters, and then I was going to do the Kwanzaa, and then COVID hit. Anyway, we did these stickers, and we had this cleaning lady that would come in, and we would always wave her because she would come in at 9 o'clock, and my class would go till 10. And she would come in and everybody would like wave to her and say hi. And we'd give her like coffee and stuff. And, and somebody was like, what's her name? I'm like, oh, I don't know what her name is. Just like, we should call her Consuela. And I was like, you mean like when she's not here? Like, yeah. Just when she's not here.
So we started asking her what her name was.
She didn't speak English. Maria didn't speak English. But my point is, we start calling her Consuela. Oh, like not to her face, of course, because we're cowards. But we would call, and then one of my students was like, "Hi, Consuela," and I was like, "Oh my God, that's not her name. That's just how we refer to her." And you know the Supreme.
I'm really sweaty for you.
We made stickers that, you know, the Supreme box shirts that were the white shirts with a red box that said Supreme.
I'm not that cool. No, I don't.
Okay, well, they were hot like a couple years ago. We made those, but it said Consuela, and we made magnets, refrigerator magnets that were red square or rectangles and Consuela. We finally got to meet her, found out her name was Maria. We decked her out in our merch. She had like a duster.
How cute.
We took pictures. We made stickers. Like I made bumper stickers with her going like this with her duster that said Matt Todd University. And people were like, what is this? It was great.
That's so cute. So now I know.
Consuela. R.I.P.
So if it was your...
She hasn't died. I don't know. That's a former life.
Rest in peace to the former life and Maria, who you called Consuela. And the fish, if you lived in, where did I say? Costa Rica, you would name it Consuelo.
Consuelo? Or Consuela?
Well, I mean, is the fish a boy or a girl?
I don't know, Brandy. I don't know. Okay, can I tell you something? Yeah. My friend in North Carolina, pressure cooker, because you were talking about the beans in the pressure cooker last week. My friend in North Carolina picked up 1,300 pounds of beef fat and trimmings today.
Ooh, are they making tallow?
Yes. And he's using his pressure cooker. Yep. What he's attempting to do is make like artisan beef tallow sticks that are in the same function as butter. Yeah. He's like, the problem with tallow is that you get it in jars, and like most people don't engage with a jar and a spoon when they're making eggs. They just get a knife, cut it off the butter stick, and put it in the pan, right? He's like, so what I want to do is make this tallow that functions in the same workflow as like, oh no, you just replace this in your butter dish. Like it's beef tallow.
Oh, it's so good.
Do you put that in your beans?
No.
You should.
No, I actually use lard, I use lard. I render my own pig fat and I use lard in it.
Wait, isn't this the same thing?
Technically, yes. I mean, like you could do pig fat in the same fashion. Okay. But I render my tallow 4, 5, 6 times because I don't like the beefy smell, because I also use it for balm. Like skin balm.
You make your own skin balm out of pig fat.
Out of beef fat.
Beef fat.
So we always buy a portion of a cow every year.
Okay.
Like my in-laws go in on it. Like we go in and we get a big chunk of the cow, whether it's half the cow or a third, whatever. And then I get all the fat trimmings. I put in my request. And my favorite part of this whole thing is the render down process. People get all wigged out. And then my house smells really beefy for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 days.
And this is what you make your balm out of? You're like, actually, yeah. I want to smell like beef.
No. You're like, luxurious beef.
Wait, who do you get your beef from?
The same farm that we get our raw milk from. Howling Farm.
What is it called?
Howling.
Howling?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Like, it's a little family farm. They actually had a contract with Chobani for years. And then COVID hit their family. And then all 6 of the people that ran the company, which was her family, all got sick at the same time for 6 weeks. So they had to sell off their Chobani contract. I know. And they had to sell off most of their cattle. And then she is doing everything in her power to rebuild their family farm. But they're doing it on their terms now. So it's a raw dairy farm. She sells the milk. She sells eggs and cream and butter. And she makes the most luxurious ice cream.
And
outside of Negronti, obviously.
Okay, first off, you got to hook me up with this woman.
Oh, absolutely.
I would love to talk to her because like the grit of the small business owner over COVID was just so fantastic. Second, I can't believe you've never brought in food from this woman. Like, why haven't you brought in her ice cream if it's better than Negronti or on par?
Well, because then I have to drive to the office and I don't have a big enough freezer in the office. So I will find a day. So they have raw milk. There is chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, if strawberries are in season. They do cookies and cream and coffee. My favorite is the coffee.
Flavored milk?
No, coffee ice cream. These are all the ice creams, genius.
Like you said, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry. I was like, okay, I could see all those as milk flavors. And then you went cookies and cream. I'm like, that's different. Whatever. No problem. But I'm like, this is not like, I'm pretty much on point. And then the second you go to coffee, I'm like, that's a genius idea. If you made coffee flavored milk, like, why not?
Nesquik's going to watch this. And Nesquik's like making
I'm sure they're not, but it's fine. You know what this is like? It's like that scene from The Office when they meet the guy who's like grandma's cookies or something. And that chick from The Office is like.
The famous Amos.
Yeah, famous Amos. She's like, excuse me, sir, do you have a second? He's like, it's not the oatmeal without the raisins, is it? She's like, never mind.
I love that one. She plays Kimmy Schmidt, right?
Yeah. And she's like, she hides herself behind her hair. Like,
yeah. That's also the episode she decides to no longer go back to Scranton. And she decides to live with like some random lady.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Yes, that was that episode. Oh my gosh. That whole season was chaos.
I love that you know that exact episode.
I do.
It's like,
and then the girl, because Jim is on the trip and Pam's not with him. And then the girl, like, he's trying to play cool and she's trying to like shove herself in. And then Dwight like broke into his room or something, or they were splitting a room or something. Yeah. It was hysterical.
Listen, I've never worked in an office, and the Kim character seemed like somebody that was like painfully accurate with the way most of society functions, which is like, you've had some struggles, you've had some traumas, but like you're just trying to show up to your dumb office job and like get through it. And of course something bad happens and you like end up dating somebody who hurts you and you have to like hide behind your bangs in the office or something. Like, is that, you've worked in offices, like, is that, are these characters accurate?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I think that's why I love The Office so much, is the accuracy of playing out all of the oddities we've all experienced in an office setting. So I worked at Disney for years. One of my final jobs working at Disney was I did data analytics. So I worked in an office and I was one of the only females in that office. And I was also a new person. I was young. I was probably 21, maybe 20 and 21 at the time. So I was very green to what a typical really big office setting is. And I am Brandy, and Brandy doesn't change. This is Brandy. This is what you get. Right. So I dyed my hair blonde. Came into the office. Oh, I was full bleach blonde. I do have a picture. Okay,
send it to me later.
I'm going to send it to you because it is off-putting. Like, I do not look like the same person. Brown hair and blonde hair. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I always dressed really nice. I always had really bright, fun colors and like the whole 9 yards.
Blonde hair.
And platinum blonde hair. So I came into work one day and realized.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Don't you just feel like people who go for the platinum blonde hair when they're really brunettes, they're just like apologizing for their existence? Like, just own it. Like,
well, that was a knife in my spleen. Thank you.
You're not blonde now.
No, not now.
And I'm sure 20-year-old Brandy made a lot worse mistakes than that. I'm just saying, like, you should not have to apologize. Like, I don't know. Keep going. So you come into the office.
So I come in the office and I go and I sit at my desk. And mind you, my boss is a much older gentleman.
Sure.
He has his own life, and the dudes around me, just my existence is annoying to them. Sure. And the fact that I'm in this cubicle of all dudes and me in the center right there, just trying to like plug away, do my thing. And they kept going, okay, Barbie, I need this. Okay, Barbie. And I go, okay, guys, my name's not Barbie. And they're like, well, when you get a normal Brandy hair color, we'll start calling you Brandy again. And that was one of those moments that I wish I had a camera on me, like The Office, where I would have just been like, that is like, So whenever I watch The Office and I watch the like outrageous things happen, I'm always like, yeah, I could see that happening.
Wow.
I could see that. Oh yeah. Crazy things.
I feel like I just have much more compassion for people if I had been in an office setting. Because like I've always had the good fortune of like right when I graduate from college, I start my own tutoring company. I don't have a boss. It's not like I interned at a tutoring company or something. Like I just started, right?
Which is such a funny thing because I feel like most people have some sort of, whether it's fast food, you either have the people that are like everybody has a fast food experience or everybody has an office experience. So the fact that you don't have any is kind of funny.
I've never had a coworker. I've never had a boss. I've been coming to this studio in between 5 and 6 a.m. for like the last year without anybody doing like an evaluation report or like nobody's driving. They're not like, hey, look, we really need you. It's like, no, this is just like stuff needs to happen. So like, I just have to be here. Like when I talk to people that I know, younger or older, doesn't matter, that have a different perspective on essentially what has to happen to keep getting paid by someone else. It's always like, what? Like, it doesn't click to me. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's like, I've only ever made money when I produced something of value and I got the exact value that it was worth. That was it. There was no like, well, maybe I'll pedal back 25% and still get the, and it's like, no, like, this is it. Like, you just get this exchange. So I have a very significant, cause and effect relationship with compensation.
Interesting.
There's no like convincing your boss you did a good job when you didn't. Especially since my profession was in SAT tutoring. It's like, no, here's a number.
Yeah.
So from 22 years until now, it's like, no. This is the analytic. You either improved this or you didn't. No one cares about anything else.
That is astonishingly different than the mass society.
That is masses.
Seriously though, if you think about it, how many of it, well, I mean, you have lots of people who are entrepreneurs.
Sure.
But then those entrepreneurs hire other people and they build out those things. So I can see that there could be a group, but most of those entrepreneurs have had jobs prior to that that lead them to wanting to start their own business and those kinds of things.
They're like, I'll do this better. Yeah. Watch me. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's bananas. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I've had like my own little side hustles and things, but it's always been, I get hired for a job. I do that job. I gain the skills and I move to my next job that I utilize those skills in or what have you. This is kind of the end all be all for me at this point. I mean, like if the chamber doesn't like me, then
I'm just going to cry. But like, is there any reason, like this is not really like a springboard for you, right? Like being the executive director of the chamber.
This was never anything I ever anticipated. Okay. To be really frankly honest, this is just a series of all the things in my life culminating to this amazing opportunity and then applying for this opportunity and getting hired. And like to me, this is where my heart is and this is where my passion for our community is. And I have no plans of leaving. Like it takes everything I love and just so beautifully blends it.
Yeah. Like I can see that with you. Because all the people that I talk to that know you, they're like, oh, we love Brandy. It's like, oh, great, Dan. Like, that's great.
Oh, Dan.
Oh, Dan.
It's one or the other though. Like I will fully admit, when you meet me, I can be very intimidating because I am very much who I am from the get-go. There is no like intro to Brandy and then I become bubbly. It's more like I'm in your face, so either you like me or you don't.
I did not get that vibe from you.
I also had my hair pulled back when you met me.
That's true. You were a different person.
I was a different person.
Yeah. Okay, check this out. I was on a PT. So nobody knows this because I just found this out yesterday. I am the state PTA legislative rep.
What? Did you know that?
State PTA legislative rep. I didn't know it until like 11 o'clock yesterday, and now I am. I didn't accept the position till yesterday, and I didn't even accept. I just got appointed. But my point
Congratulations.
The point is,
that's huge.
Thank you. So if you have issues with education in the state, I'm the legislative rep that represents that interfaces with the legislators at the state level for the PTA, the largest parent association in the state. And can
I get your autograph? I didn't know.
And here's an important thing: we represent all kids, not just members' kids.
Oh,
so like
cool.
literally
Good.
if somebody in like Salmon, Idaho is like, hey, I got a problem. We don't have a PTA. It's like, tell me what's up.
Yeah.
Not
like
me,
how
tell
can I
other people. But
who will funnel it to
who
you?
would-
So you're just going to start getting a bunch of emails from parents.
But listen, like I did not plan on being the state PTA rep until yesterday at 11 o'clock. I was on a Zoom call. So to your point, I'm on a Zoom call with a gal named Jamie who lives in, I think, Twin Falls, and then the state PTA president. And of course, like I know the state PTA president, we're friends. So I'm like, bro, I'm being me. And Jamie apparently was like, is he serious? Like, wait, what? Like, she was like, wait, I can't tell if you're joking or not, Matt. And I'm like screaming into a Zoom call on my phone. You know me, like you get me on a Zoom call. It's like, I have to make it fun. Like I can't sit here and just die a slow death. And it was a fine meeting, but it's like, I'm just being dumb on the phone. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think she was prepared. She was awesome though.
But I kind of feel like that's where you and I jive so well. We both have these like blah fun, like we're just loud and fun and want to be like interacting with people. And I think people don't know how to handle that. I feel like they want like, okay, they want this structure. And sometimes when you're outside of that structure, it's off-putting.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I have the way you put that is so good. Like I always like when I go to the store, like going up to the checkout counter, it's like an opportunity for fun.
Oh my gosh, yes. You know? Yes.
I don't mess around with Uber drivers. I'm not trying to be best friends with the Uber drivers.
Oh my gosh, did I tell you the time that the Uber driver we thought was on meth?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to circle back to that one.
Okay, come back to that one. But like that's just like Costco. Okay. There was this gal at Costco in my former life that had like a mohawk and she was all awkward and weird. And one day, and like I make all these jokes with her and, you know, like have a great time. Like what if, because we're shipping out from and I would always play the like, guess how much this cost game. I'm like, okay.
We played the same one.
Like what are we talking, 500 or 600? Like what are we doing?
Do they ever ask you, did you get everything you needed? Did you find everything you needed?
Yeah.
I use that as my opportunity to be like, well, I came in here for toilet paper and olive oil. Look at what I purchased.
I left with 3 more kids. Here we go, kids. Come on.
$400 later.
Yeah, right. So she's telling somebody one day, this Mohawk lady, telling one of her coworkers about what is it, like her fish tank.
Okay.
Like she's got some fish tank.
Consuelo.
And she's like a weird lady. Like I can tell she's a weird lady. And it's fine. Like it's totally fine. But I have a fish tank at home. So I'm like, I got it with this. So the next time I go back, I intentionally go over to her line, start checking out and whip out my phone. I'm like, look at my fish tank. And it was like dawning on her. I'm like, yes, I'm your person. We bond. We're kindred spirits with fish tanks. And she's like, she like loves me from then on.
Here's the thing. But that's one of those moments you went out of your way to show kindness.
After eavesdropping. I eavesdropped first.
I'll let that one go.
Okay, great.
I'll let that one go for now. But like, that is genuinely something that I do the same type of thing. And I think it's a personality trait. It's like you're trying to find ways to connect with these people because you genuinely want to show them like, hey, look, I paid attention. Hey, look,
like I'm a human and you're a human.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You find ways to connect.
That's
no matter what
really
it is.
Yeah.
It's connection.
What is, like, why? Why? Because like I know a lot of people that don't. It's very off-putting for people when I hang out.
I feel like if we were in a society in which we had like nomads and people, like we traveled in packs,
like
we would
scarcity of resources.
Well, like say like cavemen or whatever.
Okay.
Say we were like cavemen.
We would not survive.
No. We would be the people they sent to other camps to build friendships. And then either if we didn't come back murdered, they knew it was safe. Either that, or, you know what I mean? Like they would send us and be like, hey, look, I have bison too.
No, I think we would be the annoying ones or like keep them out of there. They're going to think we're all crazy or like they'll die for sure. Like,
although we would all, I feel like with the rate in which I sleep, I would be the night watch. I feel like I would be night watch for my whole entire community. But they would never be able to put me with Brad because Brad would find me terribly annoying and they'd find me murdered.
Why is his name Brad?
I don't know.
It's all right because they stuck me with Sharon. Dumb-faced Sharon. I don't even care. You're with Brad. I'm with Sharon. It's a train wreck.
It's a thing.
You know what the problem with Sharon is? This is my thing. This is why one thing I appreciate about you, that there are so many people and like the Sharon from high school who just took herself super seriously. Like at some point, like how old were you when you just realized you're like, there's a hot damn mess. There's a hot mess. Like
life in general is a hot mess.
Like there's no point in trying.
The last like 2 years, legitimately. Because I think up until
I gave up at 17.
Okay, well, I feel like Very different people, clearly. I think for me is navigating into adulthood. I cared a lot about what people thought about me. And I lived my life caring, oh gosh, what are they going to think? Or like, ooh, I don't want to make them upset. So I do certain things. And I really try. I'm a people pleaser by nature. But I think I realized after the car accident, like, life is too freaking short for me to worry about what other people think of me. And I need to let go and I need to enjoy and I need to actually feel present and like I'm living for myself and for glory of God. And that is how it is. And at the end of the day, if they don't like me, they're not going to like me, regardless of what I do and regardless of bending over backwards. So I've given up in the last 2 years.
Okay, that's great. I think that's too, for me, the question is like,
Matt, who hurt you?
So many people. The question for me is more like inward focused, which is like, listen, this is a train wreck. Like this whole life is just a train wreck of insanity. And like, you're bumbling along, valuing random things for no, like I was on the water polo team. I really cared about water polo. I was on the wrestling team. I was on the swim team. I was in band. Like I cared about these things, but why? Like I had these life pursuits. I was in calculus. Why does that matter at all? Like it doesn't matter in the larger sense. It's like, this is just a hot mess and you're self-selecting individual things that you willfully decide to care about. And that's it. And just call it that. Be like, there's no rhyme or reason. There's no, and like, even beyond that, it's like, you don't, like I realized a long time ago, I just don't care how I look. And like, that's not great. I understand. This is the best I can get myself to do. Like I shave and I have a hat on and my clothes are moderately clean. The word moderately was used there.
Listen to me. I know.
Nobody washes a sweatshirt every single use. So I'm not going to say this is 100% clean.
Don't say nobody.
Only normal people let it get a little dirty. It's got to get broken in. My point is that there's a degree of, listen, I'm trying to do things that I care about.
Right.
I can't be bothered to care about this other stuff because this other stuff, none of it matters anyway. And I'm just going to decide what I care about because we're all marching towards death anyway.
Okay. Remember that conversation though that we had like season 1 about the whole like, you get to pick. And I had to like let everything go and go, okay, what are the things I actually select?
Right.
Like that is that entire process though.
Yeah.
You're talking about it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So at 17, I was like, none of this, because they're, okay, you remember K-Swiss shoes, like the white ones?
Oh my gosh. Those were baller in their heyday.
Now they have Air Force Ones. Those are really popular. They're like all white.
Yeah, I know exactly what they are. And like,
listen, it's not.
It's a thing.
But like, I remember this guy, Trent, had K-Swiss. And Trent was like this really good swimmer. He went to Cal. He was on the swim team. He was a year ahead of me.
It was rainbow sandals in my high school. Every cool swim girl had like these killer rainbow sandals. And of course I wanted them. Because they look so cool.
Rainbow sandals are so bland.
They're just the
like
simplest things. Yeah.
Leather sandal. Yeah. There are people that care about these things. And people love the whole thing. But it's like, that's not even that person. He literally is representing just other brands that you like.
Absolutely.
He's a compilation of distilled likenesses, but it's not even him.
Yeah.
Like you could buy everything there. Like I could wear all the stuff he's wearing. Why though?
Yeah.
Of course he was a very, very good swimmer. So there's that.
I mean, like I look at what we wear now. It's funny though, because I look back to high school. This is gonna date me. That's okay. Like the girls are wearing Abercrombie and Hollister. And like if you did not wear the Hollister, you were not cool. If you did not have those items. I actually had a guy in high school one time. Oh my gosh, you're gonna be mortified for me. So I never told my mom until like the last 5 years. Okay. I told her because I knew it would bother her the way it bothered me. So my mom was I danced so much. I was a competitive dancer. I was a song leader. Like we cheered at all the games. We competed. Like it was a big thing. So I had my own unique style. Like I was very bohemian. Like I was very bohemian. I wore the cute little tie wraps and like the long flowy skirts and the really cute like I liked looking nice.
You had your shtick.
I had
you
how
and I
I
are
like
opposites like this. Okay, great.
It's okay. We have to be opposites in something. And I remember one time this guy, he came up next to me and he was in my science class, but he was like a junior in a freshman science class. So 1, questions. 2, he looks at me and goes, "Are you poor?" And I was like, "What?" And he's like, that's how you dress. Are you poor? And I was like, no, but thanks for asking. I just like dressing like this. And he was like, okay, I just assumed because you wear weird clothes. And I was like, okay, thanks. And it stuck in my head. But I knew if I told my mom, it would really bother her because we would spend time going to the stores before school, shopping, making sure I had things that I liked and I picked out. And like, she was horrified when I told her. She's like, you didn't tell me this? Why? And I go, because there was a piece of me that knew that we were struggling, but you went out of your way to make sure I had the things I wanted and needed. And you made sure I was taken care of and I felt confident in myself, no matter what I looked like. And the fact that he would have made either one of us feel bad about it was a him problem, not an us problem. But yeah, horrible people are horrible regardless of where you're at and who you are. And the fact that if I didn't wear the Hollister, it was a statement apparently.
And I mean, that's a terrible thing to happen.
I know.
Like, let me
Weird.
be clear. Like, but here's the thing. This is exactly the same as what I'm talking about, which is you give other people the capacity to manipulate your judgment of yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not into that. Like, I am not, I don't even participate. Because here's the thing. I feel like if I go halfway, you got to go all the way. Like, if you're going to be like, okay, I have never been able to work out so I look better. I can only get myself to work out, and I will work out insanely in the pursuit of something, right? Like I can't just do sit-ups to get abs. Like I have to do sit-ups to get like better at something.
Yeah.
Like,
it has to be a byproduct.
It has to be a byproduct.
Getting somewhere.
That's right. Because I feel like once I go down that road, if I'm like, okay, I'm going to value looking better, then if I start judging myself of, do I look better? Could I look better? Oh, you could look better? Oh, you better do what you have to do to look better. And you just go down this thing where it's like, once you engage in that judgment, once you engage in that paradigm, then it's like, you're never going to stop. Because
you're setting a standard for yourself, and then that it's never going to be achievable because there's always a better version.
Right. And I would rather not do that.
It's like the K-Swiss. There's always going to be a K-Swiss. Right.
Once you go down like, I need the cool shoe. Okay, well then there's no end to the different versions of shoes.
I thought having boys, there would not be this like, but you know what's funny? They do it to each other. They antagonize one another.
I hate it.
I hate it. And I know I did it to my brother, and my mom would tell me to stop, and I'm like, okay, I'll stop. And I antagonize the ish out of him. Sorry, Adam. I know what I did was wrong. Looking back now, but as an adult, I might still do it at times.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
You know what the problem is with this is that I was the youngest, okay?
And I forget that.
Yes.
Okay, because I think in my mind, like, you're like the big brother I never had.
Okay.
So for me, it's one of those like, I just picture you as a big brother.
No, like I've never understood this paradigm, which is like, oh, you just mess with somebody for fun. Because I was the youngest and there was no messing with other people. Like I was the one that got messed with. And I have a friend, dear friend Max, the tallow guy from North Carolina. Tallow guy. We traveled a couple times together, like after college, and I'm like, oh, never again. Because Max was the oldest brother. Okay. Like he was older. He was the oldest of three. And he loved, like at his wedding, I brought up this story of him he's just really hard to be friends with. Like he's really hard. It's worth it. Like he's one of my best friends, but he's a very tough friend to have. We're walking through this airport. We're exhausted. It's after like, it was either in Oregon or we went to head of the Charles or something, whatever it was, like exhausted, right? Going through this airport for a return flight home. And what Max would do, which he loved to do, he like loved messing with people. I'm 22, 23 years old. Like we're grown, right? I'm not 12. He walking side by side, he would walk 1.5 steps ahead of you, cut over 2 feet and start slowing down. So you naturally start veering to the left. You start running into people.
Oh my
You
gosh.
start slowing down to go around him. He starts slowing down more.
That's evil.
Until you're literally at a dead stop in the middle of an airport, thoroughfare. You're going like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, what's your problem? And you push him. He's like, don't touch me. I'm like, what? Don't touch me. Are you insane?
He's a psychopath. I'm sorry if I ever meet you.
Listen, he's a good man. Sometimes. Like I find out later because at his wedding, I kind of like tell the story. I'm like, he's a really hard friend to have. But of course, related to like him pushing me in other ways that were not like annoying in the airport, but like him. And it was at a rehearsal dinner. I was not his best man. His brother was great. but I was one of his groomsmen. So I tell this story at the rehearsal dinner and like my little speech, every person thereafter references Max being a difficult friend to have. And they all have their own stories of Max. It's so great.
The epitome of Max just happened. Oh my gosh.
So he apparently did this thing with his family called, Is This Annoying? And so he's like, this is what he would do. He'd have a flashlight from across the room and shine it in someone's face. And he's like, hey, is this annoying? They're like, no, it's not. He's like, get close. He's like, is this annoying? They're like, no. But I mean, he's like, is this annoying? Until he's so close and the person's like red. He's like, get the fuck. This is what he would do when he was like 12.
Oh, he would be punched so hard.
I know. But like, I think that's the older sibling thing. Like, I think you get away with bothering
not that
people.
evil.
You just apologized.
No, we would spar in the backyard.
What does spar mean?
Okay, so we did Taekwondo.
Okay.
And so my brother and I would put on our gear and we'd spar in the backyard. And
how old were you?
I think I was 12.
Great. How old was your brother at the time?
9.
Great. So you're 3 years his senior. Yeah, sounds real fun.
It was fun for me.
I'm sure it
time.
was. The kid was literally in 3rd grade and you're beating the hell out of him.
I was not. I was teaching him how to be defensive. Yes.
Oh my God. You're a bad person.
I was a bad person. I was. That does not mean you can't change in life, right? I do not intentionally poke and prod anymore as much. Like we will joke around with each other because he's 6'5" and I'm a whole 5'2". On a good day, I'm 5'1.5". If we're gonna be really honest, and we're on a Bible here, like 5'1.5". But yeah, like I can't mess with him in the same way that we used to when we were younger. And he was my height in kindergarten. I was a kindergartner. He stood up at like 2.5 and he was my height.
So you got some low punches and just sweep the knee.
That's a whole nother conversation for another day. I sent him to the hospital once. It was a thing. I'm not proud of it. Clearly, I don't enter conversations with that.
You let go of the world not being a hot mess like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I let go of it at 17. At what point did you reconcile the horrible nature of your younger self with who you are now? Because I have
becoming a parent.
Yeah.
The second I became a parent, the world shifted dynamically for me.
Tell me about this.
Just because like I have to think about things so differently. I don't think about things in the realm of like, how does it self-serve? I think of it in how is it safe for my kid? How do I provide with this for my kid? How do I make sure they have the best shot at life? How does this affect them, this decision? So everything was funneled through the eyes of a
different
spouse
lens.
and
Yeah.
different lens.
Yeah.
So it truly took a lot of that selfishness off of me because my goal is no longer me. My goal is something bigger than myself.
Okay, but here's the thing. Thank you for that. Understood. My question is more of like you make desserts now.
Yes.
Or you make like what's a good dessert you make?
What's not? Just kidding.
I mean,
chocolate cake. I make a really mean chocolate cake.
Okay, like do you remember the first chocolate cake you made?
It was horrible.
Right. Okay, so this is my point. We now gauge previous actions and products of our actions through a successful lens, which is like,
Totally.
I am now a successful adult. I'm a successful baker. I'm a successful, I make good tri-tip now. I remember killing some tri-tips. They were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an unfortunate vantage point because not only do we observe like a 16-year-old burning the hell out of the chicken at a barbecue, but we have the unfortunate realization that, oh wait, that was you. That was you burning the chicken. And push that realization to like more morals. Like I had a girlfriend in college. I made out with a different girl. I cheated on her because I made out with this other girl. And like, I'm not happy
Evil,
about
Matt.
it. Yeah, I'm not
Evil.
happy about it. Okay. But I also look at that as like, God, why? Like what? You were so dumb. Like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Like, and for a long time in my adult life, I kind of let this reflection of who I was and the poor decision-making process I had or no decision-making process, just action, right? Kind of paint my own view of myself. But at some point it's kind of like, listen, man, the reality is, being a teenager is not the easiest thing. Like you don't have command of your
We all make
faculties.
dumb decisions.
Well, I don't even know that they're dumb from the vantage point of somebody who makes better decisions or has a better decision.
We didn't have our prefrontal cortex.
This is my point. This is my point.
Solidified.
I just remember that.
Yeah.
Like I remember being like, God, that was so dumb. It's like, of course it was dumb. You couldn't think to tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. Like you didn't know to not like, or you just like do it. Like, I don't know. So like, it took me a while as an adult to be like, look, man, you got to let that go.
Yeah.
Because like, first off, you're never reliving it. Second, like there was a point in your life when you like pooped in your pants too. You don't feel bad about that.
Do you ever relive stuff and you're like, ugh. And like you're like, oh, and you just have like this flashback. I do that all the time. I have this flashback sometimes, and I'll go, oh, like, oh, that was me. I did that. Oh, that's embarrassing. And I'm like, oh, I really need to apologize to Brittany for that. Like,
have you ever reached out and apologized?
No, but I've had somebody reach out to me.
I've done it several times. Who reached out to you?
It was a girl in high school who was not very kind to me, and there was I don't remember if I responded or not, but there was a really beautiful apology made post high school of like, hey, didn't realize how I treated you. I'm so sorry. I should have never been that way. Like, I was dumbfounded because honestly, it wasn't that bad. People treated me way worse than her. No. So, but like the thought that she went out of her way to make amends, it really set a tone for me. Like, I really try hard that if I feel like I've done something to really bother somebody. Oh, a perfect example is my parents. My parents came to live with me right when they moved to Idaho. Their house was getting built. Then they got all that money stolen from them and it was a whole thing. So they moved in with me and I spoke really poorly to my mom. And I like snapped at her. And I came back and I was like, hey, I just need you to know I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, don't worry about it. And I go, no. If it bothers me and I know and I feel like I need to apologize, there's a reason and I need to follow that. And I want you to know I shouldn't have spoken to you like that. That wasn't fair to you. Sure. I wasn't taking it out on, I took it out on you and it wasn't your fault. So I need to apologize. And please, can you forgive me? That wasn't right. But like, I never would have done that beforehand. The fact that like I can think through my actions enough to go like, ooh, that was really poopy.
Botch that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I man, there's this one time. I had a paper route. I was in like 8th grade or something. Okay. And when you have a paper route, it's every single day. And I had this paper route and I had to like go for something like a trip or something to Tahoe or whatever it was. And this guy, David Wynn, who lived around the corner from me, and we were like friends, kind of friends. I obviously was not a very good friend, but he covered for me. I was like, okay, here's the deal. Like, I will pay you $20 to cover me for like these 3 days, but like every complaint you get, every paper you miss, because like, here's a map. The map is accurate. Get all the papers to this. And he had been a paper boy, so he understood the drill. I was like, I'll take away $5 every time you miss you get a complaint. Well, he got 5 complaints. Okay.
You took all the $20 away, Matt.
And I was like, you owe me $5. And he was like, I'm not paying you $5. I was like, you missed 5. He was like, listen to me. So I didn't pay him. I got a hold of him like 4 years ago. And I was like, David, I am so sorry. I have your $20 plus interest. And he was like, okay, Frico, listen to me. He was like, I'm doing quite well.
I don't need the $20.
Fine. Yeah. So
Go buy yourself a burrito.
I donated the money to I can't remember.
Boy? Did you tip a paper boy really well?
There are no more paper boys in the United States. They're just crackhead, methy people that sling them out of the car.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of, okay.
Yes. Yeah. But like, I felt so bad about that for years. I was like, what a jerk. Like you had this kid cover your paper route, and then you told him, you had the gall to tell him at the end of the 3 days that not only was he not getting paid, but you actually expected him to pay you $5 for the privilege of doing
for the privilege.
For the honor of taking, like, what a jerk, man. I'm never going to recover.
Pretty low.
This.
That's okay.
I was a terrible
I won't hold
person.
It against you.
I was a terrible person, Brandy. What? Tell me your method story.
Okay. So one of my dear bestest friends, Nicole, she's wonderful. We went to
Do you want some beef jerky, by the way?
I would love beef jerky.
Snake River
Farms. We love you.
I love you. Have you had they have tri-tip too? Like, I've gotten protein from them. The Snake River, like, I don't even know what to do, but it's the American Wagyu at Costco. This is not a sponsored advertisement. My wife went to Costco and I think bought close to $100 worth of beef jerky the other day, because we have, like, I'm in the studio and I'm here all day. I don't have a proper kitchen here. So like having, dried fruit and then beef jerky, it's the best.
Oh yeah. It's just
Holler Snake Rivers.
Snake River Farms.
Wow. I had no idea. I thought you could only dance. Keep going with your story.
Well, thank you. Okay, so we went to, I think it was when they're going to end up using it as their jingle forever. So we went to see, oh gosh, who is the country artist? Kenny Chesney. Okay. So we went and saw Kenny Chesney. It was wonderful. I was in charge of Ubers that night. So I was like, cool, I'm going to call us a car. Like, we'll go down to the little gas station on the corner. Red flag number 1 was he's like, well, ladies, you look mighty fine tonight. And he was being really sweet. And like, we're like, oh, thanks. Like, that was really nice. Like, not a jerk.
I tried.
I was like, I know, but thanks. Just kidding. And that's after she's laughing so hard. And she didn't know that you could get bubble water. So if you go to like a Maverick, you can go fill up like as big of a cup you want for 50 cents with ice and like the crunchy ice and bubble water. And
like just soda water. Oh,
50
fantastic.
cents. Like, it's one of my favorite things all summer long. And if you bring the cup in, they give you water refills for free. So like if I remember I have my cup in the car, like I'll go grab it and fill it. So anyways, we got ourselves water. So that way we were hydrated, obviously. And we're heading, I think it was downtown Meridian. And so we get in the car, we're talking, and this guy's like, red flag number 2 was he turned out of the Idaho Center and like had to make a U-turn and then panicked because he saw a cop. And then we both kind of looked at each other and we're like,
curious.
Like, that was interesting that you panicked over a cop that aggressively. Like, I mean, I see a cop and I'm like, oh, watch me do something really dumb and get pulled over now. Like, of course, I didn't use a blinker, of course. So, like, it's always something stupid. But, like, I know I panic sometimes when I see a cop because I'm like, oh, shoot, am I driving properly? Like, am I remembering all the rules of the road just because I'm a psychopath like that? But anyways, he, like, panics. And we're like, oh, come to find out, he was a recovering meth head. He felt the need to share that with us.
How recovering? Like recovering from an hour ago?
Suddenly, and we are in the lane to turn on the freeway, and we're both like,
I quit.
Like,
when did you quit?
independently.
Right before I picked you up. That's when I quit.
Independently, we're both like, I hope we make this. Okay. Not realizing that both of us are like slowly losing our minds in the backseat. And so we get to talking. And my favorite conversation with this gentleman, outside of the fact that he was a recovering meth addict, was the fact that he said something about vacuuming and like cleaning. And I was like, don't tell me it was a shark. And he goes, it was a shark. And I was like, those are so cool, man. He's like, oh yeah. And he goes off of, sorry. He starts going off about his, just like this vacuum he's using. And I mean, when I tell you the level of detail in which this gentleman and I are going into our love of vacuums and like the neat ball feature and how it swivels, and we really loved it because it went underneath the carpet. And my girlfriend, we get out of the car, she goes, it was a shark. And so it's our new thing. Like when was it a shark? No way, it was a shark. So that's our thing. And we weren't sure with how bumpy the ride was that we were going to make it down to downtown Meridian, but we made it. Obviously.
Okay.
I would never again, ever take that sketchy of an Uber and not request to get out. I've learned my lesson.
The thing that's most striking by this story, besides the fact that it was a shark, is that I realize now that there's probably a non-zero number of people who have recounted exchanges with me and been like, you wouldn't believe this meth head I was talking to. Because when you're like, it's a shark, I'm getting excited over here. I'm like, it goes under the couch. It's got the ball thing.
Okay, the fact that
you see my vacuums here? I fixed an actual vacuum recently. Like,
did you?
Yeah, the electrical cable started to fray, and I actually snipped it. Went to Home Depot, got an additional like industrial, and I was like, I'm not throwing away this vacuum. The vacuum works perfectly. Like. Non-zero number of people. They're like, Matt the meth head.
Okay, and the fact that like I'm sober as sober can be, and I'm delighted in the opportunity to discuss vacuums. My littlest kid is obsessed with robot vacuums. So unfortunately, I watch a lot of videos on vacuums and their qualities and all of the factors that go into the vacuum. So like the fact that I get to have this interaction and share this wisdom with somebody and also be in like peril for my life at the same conversation, not distract him too much because he kept looking back in the rearview mirror instead of eyes on the road. Yeah. But yeah, I guarantee you there's also a not zero number of people that assume that I'm intoxicated in some form or fashion as I'm going off on these tangents.
But like, don't you think that the great aspect of like the horror and the comedy and the excitement, like that's what makes a real drama? Right? Like if dramas...
That's what the police would call it if we got in an accident.
If dramas were always just boohoo. Like who's the dude with the giant ears that's like an actor who's he was in Fargo and I can't remember. Yeah, he was the main character in Fargo. He was the husband who like got his wife kidnapped to try to hold her ransom to like get money out of the...
I don't think I've seen this movie because I'm like mortified.
Frances McDormand? Fargo is a great movie. Oh, you should check it out. It's a good movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the actor actually got interviewed because he did some, whatever. Anyway, they were interviewing. He's like, listen, drama is really complex because like a really good drama should be able to make you laugh and cry like within the same breath. And it's like the whole nature of the drama is that you make people experience the range of emotions.
Yes.
Like action is like your adrenaline's pumping and comedy is you're just laughing. But like the drama is supposed to be able to bring all of it together in this like smattering of humanity and, you know, deliver that to you. And I always thought that was such a great thing because you have things that like in Chinese, like hot and sour soup, or you know, like you have things that just offer like a alternating, complimenting, but like opposite experiences, right? Like icy hot. Like if you're sore and you put on icy, it's like
I'm sorry, that is not where I thought that conversation
and then there's the warm. It's like, but you have that and you feel the wave. It's not like Tiger Balm. Tiger Balm's just hot.
That
right?
burns.
Right, that burns.
Oh, that
like
burns.
you gotta go up and then down. I feel like you had the best time of your life.
I feel like I had a time of my life. Oh my gosh. But that's the thing though, is every time I'm out with my girlfriends or hanging out with anybody, there is some experience like that where we're left going, what just happened? Oh, we went one time to the Frontier Club. It's a divey bar in Meridian, but we went there one night just chatting. My girlfriends are hanging out.
I just want to dance, Jill. Forget guys tonight. I just want to go get a drink and dance.
Put our purses in the center and just dance around them.
My God. What is it with like, if somebody invites me over for beer, I'm like, yeah, I'll come over and have a beer. I don't need to be seen. But girls or if I'm going out with dudes and we're not intending to do anything but just go out and get a drink, I look homeless, which is pretty much in line with how I normally look. But like girls will go out, like married women will go out with no intention of, you know, trying to attract males, and they will get dressed to the nines. Why do you do that? What is the function? You're just hanging out with Jill. Like, it's just Jill. You guys had sleepovers in your pajamas. Like, just Jill. You're just going out to get a drink.
I don't know. That's a really good question.
Dumbface Sharon.
I mean, she made me pick her up, but that's besides the point.
You dog. Anyway, so you go to the dive bar. You go to the Frontier bar.
And then we're talking, and we like...
Your stupid fancy clothes.
I was wearing jeans and a turtleneck if it's making you feel better. But I wasn't...
You still rock the turtlenecks?
Oh, I love turtlenecks.
Are you like the last person?
I am, actually. I own the entire collection of them.
Keep going.
So we meet this gentleman who shares with us that he is the 1988 world karate star or something. And we're joking. We're like, prove it. He high kicks in the bar. He freaking high kicked in the bar, Matt.
Like, did he go hia too? Like, hia! Sorry.
I mean, I might have also high kicked in the bar as well that night. The same thing. Like, oh, you did it too? And I just don't have that filter to know whether or not it's appropriate.
You got to read the room.
I did. And everyone loved it.
That's good.
So clearly. But yeah, that's like a normal Friday night. That stuff like that happens every time we go out.
I got to get out more. I don't leave my, like.
I think it's just, I'm kind of unfiltered and like, we're there to enjoy.
I'm unfiltered too. Like, I'm sure things like that would happen for me if I was out in the world. But like
You said it's too peoply out last episode.
It's way too peoply out. Like I don't need to go out. Oh my gosh. So we have this entrepreneurs club in my community. That's really just a bunch of people that are entrepreneurs, not like crazy, you know, like startup tech people, but some that are very skilled, but just people doing, you know, their little businesses. Yeah. And we meet up and like anybody having problems and we talk some trash and eat some chips and whatever. And my friend Jess, who runs it, who's actually been on the podcast before, she's awesome. Cool. She's coming back on. She's a business coach. She's baller. She knows that I don't go out. She knows it's way too people-y for me at every point. So I have to show up late because I have to drop my kids off from swim practice and go. And it was at Spitfire up top on the patio. Spitfire delivered again. The salsa, the chips, I got another marg with a dried thing in it. The dude serving up there, super nice, like super kind. He didn't rush us out and we were there late and he was just, you know, whatever. And then as we were leaving, you know, when you've like, I don't know if you ever worked in a restaurant. I worked at Applebee's. Anyway, so when you're already done and everything's cleaned up and somebody's like, oh, can I get like another Coke refill? And you're like, I hate your face.
Yes. Yeah.
I asked him, I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, I know you put the water away. Because he's like, oh yeah, it gets me ice. Doesn't even just pour the tap because that's like, I hate you. Here's some wet water, you pig. Right? Like, you know,
do they throw it like holy water? Because that's exactly what you just did.
It's like, you'll never be cured. So we go to Spitfire. We have the entrepreneurs meeting and my friend Jess knows it's too people-y for me, but I'm coming anyway. So she tells everyone there, and there are like a bunch of people because we were doing like a happy hour meetup. Okay. So a bunch of not regulars came, which is totally fine. But I walk up the stairs to the patio and she has everybody break into applause for me and stare at me and be like,
her.
Oh, it was terrible. I was like,
you wanted to die.
Why? Like you just couldn't
Those
help
are those
it.
big sibling things that we do.
I know. She's she's hilarious. You should meet her.
I can't wait.
You guys would get along. Listen, we've been talking a lot of trash. We have to go to Negronti's because I really, really want to do the espresso shot from last week. I've just been slammed this week. Maybe this weekend.
That'd be fun.
Maybe this weekend we go.
I like it.
Because I want to do the slow motion, like pour espresso over the ice cream.
Yes.
That'd be fantastic.
Let's do it.
All right.
I'm all in.
All right. Sounds good. I'll see you next week.
All right. See you then.
Okay.